Hey guys, it's Scott with Scottie B Cards, and in this video I want to discuss the best rookies in Topps Series 2. 2023 Topps Series 2 is here, and I am pleasantly surprised with the checklist. I'm pleasantly surprised Topps actually put the best rookies into this set. I can't think of any off the top of my head they held back. At least the ones I wanted to target are mostly in here. I'm sure there's some I'm missing. But overall, this is a good checklist, strong checklist, much better than we've seen in the past. Like in 2021, it was tough. 2022 is pretty good. The actual Series 2 base rookie checklist wasn't great. It had like maybe Spencer Strider. But outside of a few okay rookies, you had some short prints. But in this set, we're actually seeing base rookie cards of players, which I am now a big fan of. I used to love the rookie short prints like Acuna in 2018, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in 2019, but they kind of overdid it with Julio in 2022 and all the other rookies they short printed because then they printed an update rookie and it just made it confusing. So I'm actually really happy with what's going on, and we'll dive into that in just a moment. First, I want to discuss how I'm ranking these rookies. There's 4 categories I'm basing them off of: age, prospect rankings, minor league stats, and major league stats. Age is a good indicator because the younger the player is at debut generally helps their card values in regards to speculation and having better all-time numbers and making the Hall of Fame. That's a very far ways in the future, and most players, if not all these players, won't make it, but some might, and debuting early really helps fuel the fire behind collectors and investors and speculators when they're buying these players' rookie cards. Prospect rankings are important because you're actually able to see what professional scouts think of these players. Minor league stats are important because we're able to see how they did in the minor leagues. Major league stats are important because we can see how they do in the big leagues. Major league stats can be kind of off just because some players only had a few at-bats. Some players have a season and a half. But overall, those are 4 pretty good indicators on determining how they're actually doing. On age, if a player is 20 years old, they get 10 points. If they are 25 years old, they get 5 points. If they're 28, they get 2 points, and so forth. For prospect rankings, if they're a top 10 prospect, they get 10 points. If they're a top 50 prospect, they get 5 points. If they're a top 90 prospect, they get 1 point. Minor league stats is just good old 1 to 10, how good they are. Major league stats, the same way, however good they've performed. So here are the players that have all tied with 4.5 points at number 15. You can see some names you already know, like Oswaldo Cabrera. Yankees fans might think he deserves higher, but he's not an actually ranked prospect heading into this year, and because of that, he did not beat some of these other players. Mark Vientos is actually a player some of the Mets fans really like, but same situation, he wasn't actually a ranked prospect by any of the major publications. Okay, let's jump into this. At number 13, I said 13 just because there's 15, there's so many of them. We have Max Meyer. Max Meyer for the Miami Marlins. He's getting his rookie this year, even though he hasn't pitched this year. He only pitched, I believe, 2 games last year, but he had Tommy John surgery, and so because of that, his major league stats actually weren't that good. He hasn't played in a year and a half, but he's still only 23 years old. On top of that, he's still actually a decently ranked prospect. He's in the top 100 still. His minor league stats are amazing. It's just unfortunate he got injured, but I do think he is a rookie that some people might want to speculate and target as he comes back from Tommy John, most likely this next year. He could be a really good buy for some people. At number 12, we have Masataka Yoshida. We can see that he is a top prospect. He's actually in the 80s. He has great foreign league stats, and he has really great major league stats so far this year, but he is 29, which is not great for collecting. If we go look at his baseball reference page, we can see everything there. Here are all of his stats by playing in foreign leagues. You can see his OPS in foreign leagues is 957 with a 326 batting average. People said that probably wouldn't translate as much, but it actually has really translated. If we look at its overview for his actual major league performance so far, he almost has 1 WAR, 135 OPS plus. His WAR would be way higher, but he's actually performed rather poorly on defense, but he's a good ball player, so that is why I have him at number 12. At number 11, we have Bo Naylor. Bo Naylor is an interesting player as well. He hasn't really done much for the Guardians quite yet, but he's projected to do so. 23 years old. He's actually a top 60 prospect. His minor league stats are really good. His major league stats, though, aren't great. That's because he's only had 1 game in the big league so far, but we can see his OPS plus is negative 100, which isn't good, but again, that is only 1 game this year. Last year, he had 5 games. He still hasn't gotten a big league hit, and for that purpose, his numbers look much worse than they are. If we look at his minor league stats, however, he's done really good in the minor leagues. In 2022, he had an 889 OPS, 263 batting average, 21 homers, 68 RBI in only 118 games. That's a really good ball player, especially at AA and AAA combined. So for that, that's why I have him where he is. Good minor league stats, but major league stats, they leave something to be desired, but he got called up just barely, so he will get more attention now. At number 10, we have James Outman. You might be saying, I'm a Dodgers fan. James Outman has been arguably the best player in the Dodgers this year. Why is he so low? That's because he wasn't a top-ranked prospect, and he's 26. He's a little bit older older, 26 years old, not a top-ranked prospect, but if you look at his baseball reference page, he's done really well in the minor leagues, especially this last year. 294 batting average, almost a 1 OPS with 31 home runs, 106 RBI, and we can see his career minor league numbers are also pretty good. But this year in the big leagues is where he's really done great. He has a 129 OPS plus, and yes, that's not like amazing. That's still 30% better than league average, but he does have 9 home runs, 28 RBI. His batting average has dropped in the last couple of weeks or so, but overall he's still performed really well with the Dodgers, and Dodgers fans will collect James Outman, so he's an interesting player to have at this position. At number 9, we have Kodai Senga, and the reason for him here is just because he is 30. Not necessarily someone we wanted to collect. If we actually look at this number, if he was significantly younger, that would be way higher. He is actually a top 15 or so prospect according to Baseball America, one of the big publications. His minor league stats or foreign stats are really good. His big league stats are also pretty good. If you look at Kodai Senga, you can see his 0.5 WAR, 3.77 ERA, 4 wins so far in 43 innings pitched. He actually is, according to Baseball America, number 16th overall prospect. And if we look at his career foreign league numbers, a 2.42 ERA with how many strikeouts? 1,400 by his age 30 season, on pace for 3,000 technically. But overall in the big leagues, he has done well, not amazing. He had a few bad starts, I believe, that really have boosted up that ERA, but he's done pretty dang good so far for the Mets, one of their better pitchers. At number 8, we have Garrett Mitchell. Garrett Mitchell was a bigger name a few years ago, but Garrett Mitchell is good. You know, he's a good ball player. We can see that he is now 25 years old. He is still a decently ranked prospect in the top 60. His minor league stats are really good, and his major league stats so far have been pretty good as well. So if we go look, he has 0.7 WAR, 110 OPS plus. You can see again, he's in the 60s in 2 major publications, so I gave him 4 full points. If we go look at his big league numbers so far, you'll see he's a positive offensive and defensive player, which is why he has 0.7 WAR. That's good. Do I think he's better than James Outman? I don't know about that, but overall he had a prospect ranking, which is why he's higher. So just be aware, it's not a perfect system, but overall Garrett Mitchell is still a good ball player. At number 7, we have Josh Young. Josh Young's awesome. He's played really well. He's had a lot of hype heading up into the season. I believe he was hurt last year, which is why we didn't see him earlier, but he is now 25 years old, a top 50 prospect. Minor league stats are amazing. This year's stats are also really good. Look at his numbers. 1 WAR for the season so far, 109 OPS plus. He's 66th here, 34th here, 100th here, so I put him right in the middle in the 50s. If we scroll down, we can actually see again his minor league stats are awesome, and 919 OPS for his minor leagues, 311 batting average at 30 home runs in basically 1 major league season at bats, 153 games. And we can see in the last 2 years of AA and AAA, he's done really well. So Josh Young, he's played good for the Rangers so far. The Rangers are surprisingly good for a lot of people. Their rotation's amazing, and on top of that, their lineup's really good, so it shouldn't be too big of a surprise. But who knows if they can hold on to the number 1 seed, but Josh Young can be a really big part of that for the Rangers. At number 6, we have Logan O'Hoppe. I like Logan O'Hoppe. Logan O'Hoppe's hurt and out for the year. He hurt his shoulder. I believe it was the same type of injury Tatis had when he kept, dislocating his shoulder, whatever it was going on. So unfortunately, we won't be seeing him much the rest of this year. But next year, he is projected to be the Angels starting catcher, and he was doing great for the Angels. One of their better hitters when he went down. He had 0.6 WAR in only 16 games. He was doing so well as their primary catcher. His minor league stats are solid at 850 OPS, 276 batting average, 50 home runs. As a catcher is really impressive. If we go look at his big league stats as well, we can even just take that in a little bit more. He had positive WAR as a catcher, positive offensive WAR as a catcher. So he is a good ball player. We already looked at this, but his prospect rankings are all relatively high. So Logan O'Hoppe, he is an Angels fan favorite. He is only 23 years old. Unfortunately, we won't see a full season of him until at least age 24 in his age 24 season. At number 5, we have Ezequiel Tovar. I like Tovar as a Rockies fan. There's a lot of interesting things about Tovar, and you might be saying he doesn't deserve this 5, but let me explain my thought process. I think he does. Even if we put him lower, like at a 3, he's still going to be ahead of Logan O'Hoppe. Either way, let's look at Tovar's stats. We can see he's worth 0.1 WAR, which is why I gave him a 5, because he's basically league average. Offensively, he has a 56 OPS plus, but if we go look at his defense, he has 0.6 defensive WAR, which is why he's basically been an overall valuable player for a major league team. If we look at his minor league stats, though, we can see why he's so high. He's basically a top 15 to 20 prospect, 17th Baseball America, Major League Baseball had him as his 25th prospect, Baseball Prospectus had him as the number 21 prospect, and we can see he really came into his own offensively this last year. Between AAA and AA, he hit 319 with a 927 OPS. He actually was able to also even get some power for the first time, and so all of this is why we've seen him bump up so high in the prospect rankings, plus his plus defense, which also helps. His career minor league numbers aren't necessarily amazing with the 782 OPS, but we're seeing, better slugging percentage increase this last year, and we're hoping that translates to the big league level. It hasn't translated yet, but he's only 21 years old, which is crazy to think about. And so for that purpose, there is some hope for Ezekiel Tovar for the Rockies. At number 4, we have Jordan Walker. This might surprise you, but it's because he hasn't done very well in the big league level so far. He's been okay offensively, basically league average offensively. We can see he's actually worth negative 0.5 WAR with a 98 OPS plus. 100 is league average. He is a consensus top 5 prospect, but his minor league stats show he's been a good ball player career. Minor league stats are an 888 OPS, 302 batting average. This year he has done great in AAA. He really has just kind of struggled since they demoted him, which I understand mentally how that's taxing. But his defense is what really hurt him at the big league level. You can see negative 0.7 defensive WAR in only 20 games. That's where he hadn't quite figured it out yet, and that's probably partially why they sent him down. But either way, Jordan Walker, people are very high on him. I have him at number 4. You could argue higher. If he had better offensive and defensive stats, he would be, but that's where he's at. At number 3 of Anthony Volpe. Anthony Volpe is a Yankees fan. It's one of their favorite players this year. And if you look at Volpe, you'll see he's only 22 years old. He's a top 10 prospect. Minor league stats are really good. Major league stats are actually pretty good. If we look at his numbers, it might not necessarily seem that way with an 89 OPS plus. He had a very rough start to his major league career. And on top of that, he's not just been an offensive threat, but he's been great in the base paths. If we scroll down, you'll see he actually has 13 stolen bases with no caught stealings. And on top of that, he's been good defensively with 0.4 defensive WAR. And so for that purpose, that's why he has 1 full WAR for his big league career. He's basically projecting for a 3 to 5 WAR season this year. And that's without him really figuring it out offensively. If you look at his minor league stats, you'll see again, he's a top 10 prospect. Baseball America has him at number 14, but I believe, top 10 is where most people do have Volpe. Let's look at his minor league numbers. You'll see he has an 881 OPS, 263 batting average. He had 50 home runs in 275 games, so basically 2 major league seasons. So overall, he is a good player. We'll have to see if his back can develop at the big leagues. People are banking on him as being the starting shortstop moving forward, and so for that purpose, he will get the at-bats, and he's been a good ball player. At number 2, we have Francisco Alvarez for the New York Mets. I actually saw him hit a home run, just barely. I went to a Reds-Mets game and he hit a home run, so he should be way high because that's the small sample size I saw in person. But either way, he actually has been good offensively and defensively for the Mets so far in his limited run as their catcher. But we can see as a 110 OPS plus, he actually has 5 home runs. He is hitting 238, which isn't great, but outside of his 238 batting average, everything looks pretty good. His on base is a little bit low, but he'll get that up because, once he gets a higher batting average, he'll be able to be fine. Look at his minor league numbers. 913 OPS as a catcher is pretty dang crazy. 273 batting average is crazy. 60 home runs in only 257 games is crazy. And that's who he is, a power hitting. He's not a hitting first catcher because if we look, he does have positive defensive WAR, but overall he is a very toolsy type player and he's pretty developed already, and that's why he is so high on this list. And at number 1, we have Corbin Carroll. To me, the very obvious number 1 on this list because he is the fastest player in Major League Baseball. He has a 140 OPS plus, and on top of that, he steals bases like nobody's business. Let's look at his numbers. 1.6 WAR, 144 OPS plus, number 2, and number 6 on prospect rankings. Look at his minor league stats. He's a 1 dot. Minor league stats for his career, which is crazy. This last year, he had a 1.036 between rookie ball and AAA. He rose so fast. Look at his big league numbers. Again, let's check those out. You'll see he has a 284 batting average, 888 OPS, 144 OPS plus, 7 home runs, 13 stolen bases, and he's just been a good ball player. The best player so far on this list, and of any rookie, in my opinion, this year. There's other great rookies, but he's the one that I think has been my favorite. So Corbin Carroll's number 1. Those are my top 15 or so rookies heading into Top Series 2. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are, and I will see you in the next video.